For those who grew up in the 90s, the idea of having Nintendo and Sega work together on the same game seemed quite ridiculous, especially with all the campaign slurs they made at each other. However, when Sega dropped out of the console race and became a third-party developer, it was nothing short of a shock to fans of the gaming industry. In August of 2003, Nintendo released F-ZeroGX for the Gamecube, which was actually developed by Sega's Amusement Vision team, who also brought us the Super Monkey Ball series. Yeah, as if it wasn't surprising enough that Sega games would now be on Nintendo's and everyone else's systems, now we see Sega working on a Nintendo franchise. Of course, this was actually part of a new deal going on with Nintendo, Sega, and Namco, who were making Nintendo franchise games for the arcades at that time, and called themselves the Triforce. The arcade machines were based similar on the GameCube system, so if they ever wanted to port a game to the GameCube, it took a very minimal attempt to do so. F-Zero was the first game to come out, and it was called F-ZeroGX. Originally, you were supposed to bring your memory card to the arcade and receive special car parts, but I have never seen the F-ZeroGX arcade in America. I've played the Mario Kart one, but not the F-Zero one, and finding out that a Star Fox game was cancelled for this thing was a heartbreaker. I believe the F-ZeroGX arcade games were released in Japan, but thankfully we got GX on the GameCube. It still felt a little strange that Sega made it, but man did this game rock! The main menu has about 9 options, but only 5 of them are based on gameplay, so let's go over those first. The main option is the Grand Prix, where you choose one of the cups and the difficulty gets higher from left to right, and you're able to choose between the novice and master difficulty level. And then you race through 5 courses in each cup. You can choose any of the ships that are available, each one having a difference in terms of how well they handle, how fast they are, or how strong they are. You can give it a new paint job, and change your speed settings. Do you want your craft to have more max speed while it goes slower than everyone else the rest of the time? Or do you want your cruiser to have a great normal speed while its max speed takes a hit? Or just something in between? After making a selection, your race finally starts. Much like every other racing game out there, you're just supposed to cross the finish line, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Well, in this game it's not that easy. The speed in this game is intense, and if you play it long enough, I'm sure your eyes will bleed. The fact that you also have to keep a sharp eye on the road, as well as having to pay attention for quick turns and hazards, makes blinking not an option. If you can't handle the speed, I recommend taking a break every lap, which means you'll need 3 breaks for each course, or just go play Mario Kart. Your vehicle has a life gauge of its own, so be cautious of that. Hitting walls, hazards, and other racers decreases your chances of making it to the finish line. If, and notice I said if, you finish a race, you'll receive points from where you ended up in. You will also start the next race in the reverse position you finished. For example, if you finish first, then you'll start the race in last place, and vice versa. During the races, you'll see a racer with a rival mark over their head. It usually means it's the person ahead of you or close to your ranking. If you feel the need to get aggressive, you can always try taking them out by spinning, but then a new rival will just pop up. Oh, and taking out other racers gets you more health, and for every 5 you wipe out, you'll get an extra continue. After the 5th race, your scores will be tallied up, and if you win, you'll have an interview with the racer, unless it's from a custom-made ship, which I'll go over later. Once that's all taken care of, you'll receive some tickets that you can then use to purchase ship parts and other things that I forgot about because it's been almost 10 years since I've unlocked almost everything in the game, so please forgive my lack of memory. You can either try to do the next cup, or play the other events the game has to offer you. Time trial mode, which is nothing more than just practice. Then you have the multiplayer mode and the unforgiving story mode. With the multiplayer mode, you can race up to 3 other players on any track you've unlocked, any racers you have, or any racers you may have made, and I'll get to that part later. The multiplayer mode lets you race on any course at any time, so you don't have to have the pre-selected cup courses if you don't want to. If you or anyone else crash or fly off the race scene, you'll be teleported back by this UFO, and if your health is under the halfway mark, it will start you back with half your health. Once again, it's a simple concept of beat everyone to the finish line, and if you win, you'll be rewarded with a victory medal that lets you know how many times you've won. The race will end if everyone but one person finishes, and if the last person doesn't finish before the victory jingle is up, they'll be disqualified. Dang it, I have about an hour of footage from the multiplayer mode, but this part didn't even last a minute. How about a few quick deaths and cool moments before moving on? Aw, sweet, did you see that? He died while crossing the finish line! Nice one, SBO Thief! Or was that Elite Ferrex? I can't remember. It's been too long. The story mode is hands down a relentless, unforgiving monster of difficulty even when set on the normal mode. There's a story here somewhere, but it's really just about Black Ball trying to take out any other racer that may pose a threat to taking the winner's belt in the next F-Zero Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Captain Falcon has other rivals to deal with and racers to help out. The goal of each chapter is either finish the race first or complete the objective. The objectives usually range on the more interesting than the normal races side, with the exception of the chapter that took heavy inspiration from the movie Speed. If you've reached this chapter, then I really don't need to say anything, but I'll explain it for those who never had the nerve-wracking pleasure of trying this. Your racer has a bomb strapped to the top of it, and if you go under a certain speed limit, your car blows up in 3 seconds. Now throw in a night setting, making it a little more difficult to see, some tight turns, dirt that hurts the Blue Falcon and drops your speed, other cars on the highway, and you have a challenge that will haunt you even after you've beaten it. Of course, what's weird is that the difficulty spike shows up right at the second chapter. No, not even later on, right at the second chapter. That's not to say all the chapters are hair-pulling moments. Some of them can be fun, even though the difficulty seems ludicrous. My personal favorites are the Road Rage Solves Everything problem and Escape the Explosion while security doors and bars impede your path. If you want to play the other chapters of the story mode, then you'll have to buy them, as beating the chapters only unlocks a higher difficulty level. If you want to buy them, more characters to race as, or racer parts, then you'll need to save up those tickets. Let me talk about the car parts, because those are the only ones that deserve an explanation. You can go to the garage option and put together parts to make your own F-Zero racer. The parts are based on acceleration, body strength, and handling. You can customize to your heart's content, and even make an emblem for your ship. Emblems and customized racers are saved to separate memory blocks, so you will be limited to how many you can make. For the record, having a racer that has all A ranks on it does not mean you're going to win. It's a cruel joke if you ask me, but the racers will definitely perform better than the normal racers you're given. Other options include, well, options, a replay for your replays, racer profiles letting you know more about the racers, their vehicles, and their theme song, and a practice mode. So I guess you practice in practice mode, then you do a time trial mode to record your best time. I always saw time trial mode as a practice mode, but I guess in this game you'll need all the practice you can get. I have to say that the AV team did a fantastic job on recreating the levels. They all have great details to them, and the way how some of them are set up so you can get the most out of your acceleration is beyond captivating. You also have levels that were made to defy gravity, while still avoiding obstacles or holes in the road. What you have is a very challenging racer with diverse, vibrant, and intense courses that demands that the player learn how to handle themselves in these environments or face defeat. The cutscenes in the story mode are very nicely done, though the lip syncing seems a little off.
Black Shadow, I'll show you. You'll never beat me.
In the end, both modes require patience, but the satisfaction for overcoming them justifies that. Not the rewards themselves for beating it, just the satisfaction. Not to mention I felt that it was also quite relieving that I didn't have to get first place every time just to get first place. Theoretically, you can actually get third place all 5 times and still come in first, mainly because all the racers won't always finish in the same place. So if you keep it a consistent average, you might actually rank higher than what you thought you would get. And of course, I love those customizable racers. In terms of any issues I have with the game, it mostly just boils down to the difficulty level. If you're not up to the challenge, then this isn't your type of game. But I feel that you shouldn't blame the game for being hard when it was supposed to be hard, and the controls and level designs aren't broken. Speaking of controls, I don't feel the game properly tells you to use the L and R buttons, as that makes all the difference in terms of making sharp turns. Heck, even spinning helps you get through some tight corners. In other words, you will have to teach yourself some tricks if you want first place. I actually learned the L and R buttons from the extra instruction booklet from F-Zero on the N64, and I was glad that tactic still worked. The controls feel a little awkward at first, but after the first lap, you should get the hang of them. You should also be careful not to go too fast in some areas, or else you might just fly right off the track. And just because I haven't brought it up yet, once you get to the second lap of a race, while that wasn't set up grammatically correct, you will have the ability to trade your energy for a burst of speed. Granted, you still have some life in you. The only way to get your energy back is to either wipe out another racer for a small amount, or find these pink purplish trails that will restore your energy while you're on it. You'll wish you'll see these more often, as on the harder difficulty levels you'll find yourself constantly burning through your energy just to keep up with the guy in 20th place. Unless of course you're using the snaking tactic in this game, not the one from Mario Kart DS, which is done by putting your racer on the highest acceleration level and pushing L and R back and forth. If you're looking for a high-speed, exciting racing game that relies more on skill to win than luck, then hopefully you've already picked up F-ZeroGX. If not, then good luck trying to find one. The only real fault this game has is the difficulty, but that doesn't bother me at all as long as the controls aren't the ones to blame. I really hope we will see an F-Zero game on the Wii U and not just that Nintendo Land thing! With online modes, more racers to customize, an HD look, and please let the AV team develop it again. A 5 out of 5. It's only as good as you are.
F-Zero TV.
From the special F-Zero GP venue, we're broadcasting an interview with the Grand Prix champion. Okay then, I'd like to ask you something. Your rivals are howling for revenge.
Come on then.
Thank you for the interview. We are all looking forward to seeing you in your next GP race. That's it, everyone. We'll see you at the next Grand Prix.